I'm a little distracted because I'm looking at CNN on my monitor, and John King is in Central Bucks County doing a political package for CNN. He's in Doylestown. I'm like, that's the Bucks County Courthouse. Gang, I ain't never been with a woman long enough for my boots to get old. We've been together so long now, they both need resold. If I ever settle down, you'd be my kind, and it's a good time for me to head on down the line. The lyrics of Heard It in a Love Song from the Marshall Tucker Band. Why do I bring it up? Because they're coming to the Excite Center at Parks Casino. You want to hear some more of this, TC?
I mean,
I'm the
for
kind
sure.
of man who likes to get away, like to start dreaming about tomorrow today. Never said that I love you, even though it's so. Where's that duffel bag of mine? It's time to go.
Oh, boy. Heading out of Dodge.
I'm gonna be leaving at the break of dawn. Wish you could come, but I don't need no woman tagging along.
No, you don't need no woman.
Always something greener on the other side of that hill. I was born a wrangler and a rounder, and I guess I always will.
Oh, boy.
If you want to hear the real version, then go to the Excite Center on August 25th for the Marshall Tucker Band, Australian Pink Floyd on September 7, J.B. Smoove on September 14. That's the date I've got circled. Tribute act, the Best of the Eagles in September, Dustin Lynch, the country star, comedian Tiffany Haddish, The Fray, the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald, and comedian Kev Herrera, all coming to the Parks Casino, to the Excite Center. Got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But go online and get some tickets. Headlines now from the Tuesday edition of the newsletter. Our lead story, as I put it, the X-Men, Elon and the Donald. Trump looking for a momentum shift. Did not get it from Elon Musk. But I have some thoughts that I want to share about the sit-down between Trump and Musk last night. You know by now, nearly 2 hours long, and the headline in most places is how it was marred by technical issues. By the way, talk about how things have changed. Do you remember the last time that we spoke of technical issues and a major political event on X with Musk? It was the launch of Ron DeSantis. And then everybody was thinking like, oh, DeSantis, he's a real comer. You know, he's really going to give Trump a run for his money. And look where we are now. I listened to it. I listened to about an hour of it. You know, I was curious to hear what we were getting from Trump. No surprise. Same old, same old. I can't even call it a greatest hits reel because it's wearing too thin. It's too old. He needs new material. In this case, it was recounting the assassination attempt, talking about the border, trashing Kamala Harris. But I was equally interested to see, like, what do you get from Elon Musk in this kind of an environment? And I've listened to a lot of Musk because he's been an extended guest for Joe Rogan on a couple of occasions, and I've listened to those podcasts because I'm intrigued by Musk. He was very deferential, very much a fanboy in Trump's presence. And I think what's being missed by many observers who are sort of poo-pooing the whole exercise and kind of having a laugh at Trump's expense is this. 1 million people listened. Okay, that's nothing to laugh at, especially in early August. Musk is giving Donald Trump, a super PAC supportive of Trump, $45 million a year. So if nothing else, if it keeps Musk happy, it keeps that spigot open for $45 million per month. And it also represents Trump coming back on X, which could have value to his ground game. Because listen to this. On X, he's got 88 million followers, compared with only 7.5 million on his own Truth Social. The same campaign ad that was posted at about the same time on both platforms, meaning Truth Social and X, had 172,000 likes on X within 2 hours, only 9,000 or thereabouts on Truth Social. So Trump's getting something out of it. Many others might not see the value, but he is getting something out of it. And then there's this, and this is really what I wanted to discuss with you. CNN's Stephen Collinson writes the following. At times during the event, Trump, who spent months hammering Biden over his age, stutter, and struggles to sometimes complete sentences, appeared to be lisping or slurring his words. It was not clear whether an audio issue was to blame. Asked for an explanation, the ex-president's campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, said, "Must be your hearing." Well, I heard it as well. And my initial reaction was, could it be a dentures issue? Trump is not a drinker. It's not like he was hammered. And then a light bulb went off in my head. And I remembered a couple of months ago, we had a problem with one of my live broadcasts, one of our evening, for newsletter subscriber events, which was done on my iPad via Zoom. So I went back to PJ at Creative Outfit. He and his gang at Creative Outfit are responsible for all of my video work, including the YouTube broadcast at this very moment. And I asked PJ to remind me what was the problem that we had, because TC, do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
We had a number of people who were viewing like, hey, you're lisping.
Yes,
what's going on?
Absolutely. And the question was, hey, maybe that was when you were breaking your dry January? That was one of the times. We've had it a couple times. What was the issue? But you don't have a lisp, so it was strange.
No. Yes. And nor had I been drinking in that instance.
Right.
So I asked PJ, and PJ said it was when you were using your iPad in connection with Zoom. And then I said, all right, and what happened? And he said, well, Zoom compresses the noise when combined with an Apple mic. And at that moment, he lost me. But I understood that it was some kind of a technical issue. And he said, these are PJ's words, if only Trump had spent $20 for a cheap lapel mic like we did, and he's right, because I do have one now, he could have solved the problem. So I am here to tell you that if you paid attention, or if you now will pay attention, and you hear a lisp in Trump, there might be a very simple technical explanation for it.
That also plagued you. That is incredible.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just pulled up the video of you. Do you want to hear some of your lisp from back in?
Do you have it?
Yes.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah.
You would have made your kids pay for the sofa? Your brother set fire to your lawn once. Okay, I can tell we're all in the same mood.
Yeah.
So now I go to Lehigh, and Lehigh was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lehigh was a total Greek system. And
System.
System.
Yeah.
There's quite a system there.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a system.
That was
There's
it.
a system, all right. Yeah, well, there you go. All right. We're done here. I mean, we've already so enlightened the audience with the issue of the day. I don't know what else I can possibly offer. But there are additional headlines from the Tuesday edition of the newsletter. So let's get to them. Poll results yesterday, 32,968 votes cast. Does the Harris honeymoon ever end? 56.27% said no, it's never going to end. Poll question today, thank you, Stephen Rosenthal, senior fellow from the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center. Should tips be taxed? Should tips be taxed? So simplistic and yet such a provocative question. Please make sure you're voting on that. Also, for newsletter subscribers, Jack Oman, the Pulitzer Prize winner, with a real beauty today. TC, do you want to describe what's going on in the editorial cartoon? And by the way, won't this be great in the book?
Yeah. I just keep thinking of flipping through your cartoon coffee table book, and this is exactly what is going on right at this moment. And it's Kamala Harris coming down the stairs. She's got music. She's got her car keys that says D,
Car
by the way.
keys.
Did you notice the little D?
Right. Yes,
She's got the polls going up. It says Brat 2024. She's bopping out the door. Biden is sitting in his easy chair. Have a good time, kid. And it's, there's FDR on the wall. Kennedy's on the wall. I love LBJ. Like, the whole thing is so good. And out she goes. So, yeah.
Right. The old guy, it's like grandpa is just turning loose the youngin'.
Well, and it's exactly what's going on right now, where she is just riding this wave of popularity, and the momentum is all in her direction. I'm interested to see 10 cartoons from now where we are, 5 cartoons from now where we are. So, yeah, interesting.
Who knows? Okay, some of the non-front page, non-political stories of the day that made the cut for the newsletter. I love this story, and yet I'm so repulsed by the behavior that it describes. From the New York Post, ghost license plates are costing New York City the tune of $200 million a year, and the level of sophistication. You know how everything now has gone technical, and no longer do you have somebody standing in a toll booth where they're taking your money and they're taking your ticket. Instead, everything is now an easy pass world in which we are living. Well, scofflaw drivers with ghost license plates are now costing New York City a huge sum of money. And as the Post reports, fueled by a burgeoning online cottage industry peddling James Bond-level gadgets. And in the story, you can see one of them demonstrated where somebody pushes a key fob and a cover covers your license plate. So imagine you're going through the Holland or Lincoln Tunnel and you're going into New York City. You push the key fob, it covers your license plate, and therefore you don't pay the tolls for bridge access, for tunnel access. It's appalling, and it's sophisticated, and it's very hard for law enforcement to crack down on. The ghost plate scourge involves driving without a plate altogether or using tags that are scratched out, obscured by tinted or reflective covers, or they are completely phony. So the lengths to which people are going now to take advantage of the system and to not have to pay. And I hope that those that they catch, that they're really punishing to make an example of, because that's the only way you can crack down. The rogue vehicles whiz through tolls and right past NYPD speed and red cameras 100,000 times a month, using their unreadable plates to dodge fines and other penalties. How big is interest in the upcoming presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? So big that MTV's VMAs, by the way, who knew they were still on air? I did not, but they've moved the date. The 2024 MTV VMAs, moving back a day, will now take place Wednesday, September 11, instead of the previously announced Tuesday, September 10. The move is an effort to avoid having them opposite the presidential debate. That's going to be so huge, if in fact it happens, fingers crossed that it does, on September 10. So there you go. Aaron Rodgers in the news saying that the New York Jet quarterback, 3 years after telling reporters that he'd been, do you guys remember this? He'd been immunized.
As opposed to vaccinated, right? I mean, isn't that he was trying to thread the needle somehow?
Right.
Correct. In a soon-to-be-published unauthorized biography, now says he regrets it, should have been truthful with his status. He previously said the controversy had a dramatic impact on his public image. He told author Ian O'Connor that the primary reason he claimed he was immunized was the statement represented the crux of my appeal. If there's one thing I wish I could have done different, it's that because that's the only thing critics could hit me on. So said Aaron Rodgers. So there's that. Speaking with Jonathan Turley on today's program about free speech, the First Amendment, what's going on college campuses. I thought this very interesting. We have a study from the Knight Foundation on attitudes of students relative to the First Amendment and free speech, not entirely the same, on college campuses. What TC, jumped out at you from this survey?
So there were key findings. There were several of them, maybe 10, and some of them jumped out at me. A couple of them, few students report they would take part in disruptive actions towards invited speakers they oppose. So the things that we're seeing on the news where kids protest or come into a lecture hall or something like that, according to this study, is a very small percentage, 8%. Of students say that they would do disruptive actions. So that stood out to me. The other thing that stood out to me, because it reminded me of a very important word that we use around here, mingle, is it says students crave opportunity to engage in constructive dialogue. So they want to be able to talk and to have disagreements in an agreeable way, but they're not sure how to do that. Those are the two things. Oh, and one more. Students are increasingly skeptical of social media's role in productive conversations. Smart kids. I'm not sure that social media is the right place to be doing that. So those are some of the things that jumped out at me.
So I, too, took note of the craving of opportunity to engage in constructive dialogue. And I just want to say, yesterday on the program, Arthur C. Brooks, professor at Harvard, who teaches happiness. Yes, he actually teaches a course on happiness at Harvard, was a great guest. He wrote a piece for The Atlantic, The Best Therapy for Our Anxiety Epidemic. And for those who were tuned into the conversation, and we'll be releasing it, I assure you, as a podcast, he said that he encourages his students to ask themselves two questions. Why am I alive? And for what would I give my life? It was a really profound discussion that we had yesterday, and there was a call, Bill from Ohio, who said that he would give, on the second question, that he would give his life for his wife. He said he would give his life for his kids, and he said he would give his life for his country. And we are definitely going, maybe as soon as tomorrow, but sometime soon, we're going to make that a poll question of, would you give your life for your country? I'll be very interested to see what result we would get in that. And if I could break it down by age, I imagine we'd get a big difference by generation. So good stuff. But read, there's a lot being written about this study from the Knight Foundation. And as I sometimes choose to do, I take you right to the study rather than the analysis of the study. So read it for yourself. There's also this from the Daily Mail, my friends at the Daily Mail, doing that with air quotes.
I was surprised that you put this in. By the way, I have I'm no pun intended. I have a bone to pick with you.
Is it? Oh my! Is your bone about this story?
Yes,
it is. It.
Yes, because
okay.
I think your headline is incorrect. Your headline is wrong.
Go ahead. Tell me.
I think the reason your headline is wrong is because you didn't want to use a certain word. And so
I did not want to use that word.
Correct.
First of all, it's too many. It's too many characters.
I see right through all this situation. But your headline was wrong. You don't have to have
sex.
Go ahead,
explain.
Okay, the headline that you chose is frequent sex lowers cancer risk.
Right.
And the story is
glass half full.
The story, bone to pick with you. The story is that if men ejaculate 21 times a month, it can lower cancer risk, prostate cancer, by a third, which is astonishing. But
huge.
You don't have to have sex. And I think that's really important. I understand you didn't want to use the word ejaculate. I understand. But that's important. So men can masturbate.
You're walking into a trap.
I'm not walking into a trap.
Did it. Is that sex?
Masturbation?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Do you disagree with me?
I'm not sure. I mean, it depends what "is" means.
If you said, is sex, I mean, masturbation.
I smell poll question.
Do you? If you didn't want to put this as a headline, you're not going to put it as a poll question.
Let me tell you something. You don't even know this, but I played with other headlines.
Did you?
And I couldn't. Yeah, and I couldn't make it work. But I had something much more risque than ejaculate.
You did?
Yeah, but I did. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk. That's funny.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's quite a remarkable story.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
It is a remarkable
It's unbelievable.
Because if it was just like a game of inches, then I wouldn't say it was significant. But a third.
A third.
Wow.
All right,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
And then they had photographs accompanying the story of well-known men that have died as a result of prostate cancer.
I know.
mean, it's a real serious thing.
Oh, it's
but
very serious.
Researchers, I'll just read this one line. TC already gave it to you, but researchers recommended climaxing 21 times per month because the literature suggested it lowered the risk of disease by 1/3. Listen, we have great headlines. Honest to God, every day, yes, I'm giving you the best of the political coverage, but take advantage of all the reading that I do so that, you can just go right to a story like this. I'm like, no joke. It's a really interesting piece, but every day the newsletter has these kind of nuggets. I'm also interested in how LA is going to follow Paris relative to the Olympics of 2028. And they've got big plans, including like no cars and 3,000 buses and sporting events spread out at more than 80 existing events all across the city. I have to say it's something I'd like to go to. I would like to attend. Have either of you ever been to an Olympics?
No, I would love to. Yeah.
No, my brother, sister-in-law, and 2 nephews went. They live in Germany, so they went to Paris this year and saw 3 different events for a week. They loved it, had the greatest time. They watched field hockey, archery, and tennis, and they absolutely loved it and said it was as good in person as we thought it was on TV.
Nice. The Olympic Village is going to be stationed on the UCLA campus. I think that makes great sense. It just seems like SoFi Stadium, which has hosted everything from NFL games to Taylor Swift concerts, is going to play a role in the opening ceremony and host the swimming events. They're going to construct a swimming pool at SoFi Stadium. I mean, the San Fernando Valley is going to host BMX racing. They're going to have Pacific Palisades will be the host of golf. I could go on and on and on, but they're going to take full advantage of Southern California, and it sounds like a lot of fun. So, okay, thank you so much. Vote on today's poll question, should tips be taxed? Check out all the offerings in today's daily newsletter. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. See ya.